You ever notice how the people who actually make the world go round never seem to have a damn dime in their pocket? It's true. You walk down the street at 6 in the morning, the city's still yawning, and there they are, the broke people. They're sweeping the sidewalks, delivering the newspapers, loading the trucks, flipping the pancakes, pouring the coffee, and smiling like they've been paid to act in a toothpaste commercial. Meanwhile, the folks who supposedly run the world are still asleep in silk sheets, dreaming about ways to charge you extra for breathing. You ever think about that? The world doesn't run on money. It runs on the people who don't have any. You think the stock market keeps society moving? No, it's the night shift nurse, the guy driving the bus that doesn't smell too fresh, the woman with 3 jobs and 1 working shoe. Those are the real engines of civilization. The rest of us are just pretending to be in charge. Every morning, broke people perform miracles nobody notices. Somebody wakes up at 4 a.m. to clean the floors of an office they'll never work in. Someone's changing sheets in a hotel they could never afford to stay in. Someone's making breakfast for strangers who don't even look up long enough to say thank you. These people are like the background music of society. You don't really hear them. But if they stop playing, the whole scene falls apart. And let's talk about how society treats these folks. You know what the world does. It gives them slogans instead of salaries. Essential workers, backbone of the economy. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But when payday comes, the only backbone they get is the one that hurts from standing too long. They call them heroes, but apparently heroism doesn't come with dental coverage. It's funny, not ha-ha funny, but Carlin funny how people with the least power have the most responsibility. You miss one garbage pickup, and the whole city smells like a biology experiment. You lose one plumber, and civilization goes medieval in about 3 days. You take away the broke people, and the whole thing collapses faster than a cheap lawn chair. But you take away the rich, society just gets quieter. You ever notice the people with money love to say, money isn't everything? Yeah, that's easy to say when you already have it. Try saying that when you're counting quarters for gas. Try telling that to the guy patching potholes in the rain while a BMW splashes him on its way to brunch. That guy's not thinking about manifesting abundance. He's thinking, if I can get through this week without losing a toe, maybe I'll treat myself to a sandwich that doesn't come from a vending machine. And still broke people show up. They show up when it rains, when it snows, when the boss forgets their name. They show up with bad shoes, bad backs, and good hearts. They fix your car, deliver your mail, fry your food, clean your mess. And they do it for a paycheck that wouldn't buy you a decent dinner at one of those places that calls water sparkling. Meanwhile, somewhere in an office with better lighting, someone in a tie is saying, "We're cutting costs." Yeah, they're cutting you. They'll spend more money on motivational posters about teamwork than they will on the people who make the team work. You've seen those posters, the ones with mountains and eagles. Together we soar. Yeah, right. Together you soar and we get minimum wage and a broken vending machine. It's incredible how much broke people do with so little. You ever watch someone stretch $1? It's like origami. They can make that thing do tricks. They know how to turn leftovers into a meal, duct tape into a lifestyle, and bad luck into a sense of humor. They've got something billionaires will never understand, efficiency born out of necessity. You don't waste when you can't afford to. You fix things, reuse things, share things. The rich recycle plastic. The broke recycle life itself. You ever notice how broke people always know somebody who can help? My cousin fixes cars. My neighbor cuts hair. My uncle knows a guy at the DMV. It's like a secret underground network of survival. They've got more connections than a politician, but none of them come with handshakes or campaign donations, just favors, trust, and a promise to return the help someday. And yet, society keeps pretending like these people are invisible. It's like magic. You can't see them, but somehow your coffee's hot, your roads are paved, your packages arrive, and your trash disappears. They're ghosts with time cards, and the best part, they don't complain. Not really. They joke about it. They laugh because what else can you do when you're working 3 jobs just to stay broke? Humor becomes a survival tool. If you can laugh at it, it doesn't own you. There's this weird illusion that money equals intelligence. Like the richer you are, the smarter you must be. That's nonsense. You think the guy mopping the floor doesn't understand life. That guy's got a PhD in reality. He knows more about human behavior in one shift than a hedge fund manager learns in a lifetime. He knows who tips, who trashes, who's kind, who's fake. He's seen it all, and he's still humble enough to smile and say, "Have a nice day." That's class, real class, not the kind you buy with a credit card. Here's the kicker. The people keeping the world spinning will probably never get the credit. They won't have buildings named after them or awards handed to them. But when the power goes out, when the roads freeze, when something breaks, who do you call? Not the guy in the boardroom. You call the broke guy with the toolbox, the broom, or the wrench. He's the one who shows up. You know what's wild. Even when the system squeezes them dry, broke people still find ways to help each other. Somebody's car breaks down. There's always a friend with jumper cables. Someone's short on rent. There's always a neighbor who slides $20 under the door. That's community. That's humanity. You won't find that at a shareholder meeting. So yeah, the world runs on broke people. The ones nobody thanks, nobody notices, nobody pays enough, and yet they're the only reason the lights come on, the buses move, and the burgers flip. Without them, the fancy folks wouldn't have anything to be fancy about. The whole charade depends on the people who can barely afford a ticket to the show. And that's the cosmic joke right there. The people with nothing keep everything going, while the people with everything keep talking about growth. The truth is simple. The world doesn't turn because of the powerful. It turns because of the tireless. You ever notice how the whole system is built like a bad joke, and the punchline is always the same? The people at the bottom do all the sweating, and the people at the top do all the collecting. It's like a magic trick, except there's no rabbit and no hat, just you, your paycheck, and some guy in a suit making it disappear right before your eyes. They call it the economy. I call it pickpocketing with paperwork. They say we live in a system of opportunity. Sure, we do. The opportunity to work until you die and still owe the electric company $12. That's not an economy. That's a treadmill with bills attached. And the funniest part, the rich need the poor way more than the poor need the rich. You take the broke people out of the picture for one day, and society stops like a broken record. But you take the rich out. Nobody even notices until the yacht club newsletter doesn't arrive. Think about it. The people making all the decisions have never actually worked in the world they're managing. They talk about productivity and growth like it's some kind of religion, but they've never seen a double shift at a diner or tried to pay rent and buy groceries in the same week. They don't understand how the machine runs. They just own the key to the vending machine that feeds on it. And they love irony too. They'll say things like, "We need to support our essential workers." Yeah, essential to you, not to your payroll budget. You ever notice they always say we're all in this together? No, we're not. You're on the yacht, I'm on the lifeboat, and someone else is swimming with one shoe. Together my foot. You ever hear a politician or some CEO say, "Hard work always pays off"? Yeah, maybe for them. The janitor works hard every day, and all it pays off in is back pain and overtime. The real rule is, the harder you work, the less they pay you. It's like gravity in reverse. The less effort you make, the more zeros you get at the end of your check. It's a beautiful scam, really. They convinced everyone that being broke is your fault. If you just worked harder, people are already working 3 jobs, eating dinner out of a paper bag, and trying to sleep on a bus between shifts. What do you want them to do? Divide their atoms for more hours in a day? The truth is, the game's rigged, the dice are loaded, and the guy who made the dice owns the casino, and the media, oh, they love to keep the joke going. They'll run a story about some billionaire donating $5 million to charity, and everyone claps. Meanwhile, the guy who gave his last $20 to help a neighbor pay for groceries doesn't even get a thank you. One person's generosity gets you on the news. The other's gets you a handshake at best. That's how you know it's upside down. We celebrate people for giving away money they'll never miss, while ignoring the ones who give everything they've got just to help someone else survive. You ever see those TV shows that glorify rich people, lifestyles of the rich and famous? Yeah, they show you the yachts, the mansions, the diamonds, but they never show you the people who cleaned the bathrooms before the cameras rolled. They don't show you the drivers, the cooks, the gardeners, the real stars of the show, because that might ruin the fantasy. Can't have the audience realizing who's really keeping the dream alive, and it's not just the rich. Even middle management gets a little taste of the illusion. They start thinking they're part of the club. They walk around with clipboards saying things like, "We need to maximize efficiency." Oh, really? You think you're the we, and now you're not the we. You're the they. You just haven't gotten the memo yet. You're like the substitute teacher who thinks the students respect them. They don't. The whole thing's a pyramid, and the bottom's made of sweat. The people on top build their castles on top of people's paychecks, then complain that the view's not high enough. And when the whole thing starts wobbling, they blame the bottom layer for not working hard enough. Productivity's down, yeah, maybe because everyone's exhausted and living on instant noodles. You ever think about how absurd it is that the same people who can't afford health care are the ones cleaning hospitals? The people who can't afford to travel are the ones building airports. The people who can't buy a house are the ones laying the bricks. It's poetic if it weren't tragic. That's the real comedy. The whole world's upside down, and everyone just nods like it makes sense, and they keep us distracted. They give you just enough to keep you quiet, a raise here, a sale there, a new phone to make you feel modern. Look, you're part of progress. Yeah, progress toward bankruptcy. They've turned survival into a subscription plan. Rent, insurance, phone, car, cable. You're basically paying rent just to exist. Miss one payment and they repossess your peace of mind. But oh, the system's clever. It rewards obedience and punishes thinking. If you question it, you're negative. If you notice it, you're lazy. If you reject it, you're ungrateful. They've got names for everyone except the ones who benefit from it. Those people are just called visionaries. Visionaries, the only vision they've got is of your wallet opening. They love to talk about trickle-down economics. Yeah, the only thing that trickles down is stress. You ever notice the rich always say money doesn't buy happiness? Maybe not, but it sure makes misery more comfortable. You can cry in a mansion a lot easier than in a studio apartment. It's not even that rich people are evil. Some of them are probably nice at dinner parties. It's just that the whole structure depends on someone staying broke. Somebody's gotta work the night shift, flip the burgers, drive the bus, clean the floor. The system needs broke people the way a car needs gas. It runs on their energy. And yet, they are treated like the problem, not the foundation. The irony is, the poor have more in common with each other than the rich ever will. The broke folks share food, tools, advice, hell, even jokes. They've got a kind of community that can't be bought. You never see a billionaire borrowing sugar from the neighbor. They don't even know their neighbor's name. Meanwhile, broke people know the whole block. They've built a neighborhood out of survival. And what do the rich do? They build walls, they separate. They live in gated communities to stay away from the very people keeping the lights on. That's the punchline. They're terrified of the broke folks, not because they think they'll riot, but because deep down they know the truth. The world keeps running because broke people still care enough to show up. That's the ultimate irony. The system depends on compassion it doesn't deserve. Every time someone clocks in at a job that underpays them, helps a stranger, or keeps things running when they've got nothing left to give, they're proving that decency survives even when fairness doesn't. And maybe that's the real secret. The joke's not on the poor, it's on the people who think they're winning. Because in the end, the ones holding the world together aren't the ones counting the money, they're the ones counting on each other. ChatGPT said, "You ever notice that the people with the least money always seem to have the most imagination? It's incredible. You give a broke person $5 and they'll stretch it like it's a yoga instructor. You give a rich person $5 and they'll look at it like it's an alien artifact. Broke people know how to turn a dollar into a day's survival and a story worth telling. The rich, they need a financial advisor just to find the ATM." There's a strange kind of power in being broke. It's like nature's way of teaching you everything school forgot. You learn how to fix things, how to make things last, how to laugh when everything's falling apart. You develop creativity that money can't buy, because when you can't buy something, you've got to invent it. The poor invented duct tape engineering, cardboard furniture, and soup that lasts 3 meals. You ever see a rich person make soup out of nothing but noodles, ketchup, and hope? No, you haven't, because they've never been that alive. Being broke teaches you hustle. Not that fake kind they talk about in business books, I mean real hustle. The kind where you're counting coins in your hand and calculating bus fare in your head like it's rocket science. The kind where you're negotiating with yourself. If I skip breakfast, I can afford dinner. That's advanced economics right there. You don't need a Wall Street degree. You need a stomach and a sense of humor. And the broke people, they always keep their humor. You ever see someone broke laugh so hard they forget for a moment that their shoes are held together by dreams and duct tape? That's real wealth joy that doesn't come from a receipt. You can't buy that kind of happiness. You can buy a yacht, sure, but you can't buy that moment when everyone's laughing around a kitchen table with a $1.02 pizza and a story that'll last forever. It's funny, the rich spend fortunes trying to simplify their lives. They buy books about minimalism, they go to meditation retreats, they hire people to declutter their mansions. The poor don't need to declutter. They never had the clutter to begin with. Their closet's been minimalist since birth. They don't need meditation retreats. They meditate every time the lights go out because they couldn't pay the bill. And broke people, they've got community. That's something money can't replace. When you've got nothing, you've got each other. You borrow sugar from the neighbor, lend a screwdriver, watch someone's kid while they're at work. The rich don't even know their neighbors' names, they just call them the ones with the hedge. Broke folks build villages out of scraps and kindness. That's power. Not the kind that comes with a title, the kind that comes with trust. You ever see how broke people share food? It's a whole ritual. Somebody gets paid and suddenly the block smells like a barbecue. Doesn't matter who brought what, everybody eats. You show up with paper plates, you're part of the family. There's no guest list, no RSVP, no dress code. Just good people making good out of bad. That's wealth in disguise, and the irony is, the broke people, they know struggle better than anyone, but they also know gratitude. You give a broke person a ride, they'll thank you like you saved their life. You give a rich person a free drink, they'll ask if it's top shelf. Gratitude doesn't come from what you have, it comes from knowing what it feels like to go without. That's a kind of wisdom you can't learn from a motivational seminar. You ever notice how the rich are obsessed with finding themselves? They're always going on retreats to reconnect. You know who never has to find themselves? Broke people. They've known who they are since day one. They've been face with themselves in the mirror every morning, trying to psych themselves up to get through another day. They don't need to go to the Himalayas to find peace. They find it on the bus ride home, humming along to a radio that barely works. And being broke gives you perspective. You start to see the nonsense in all the things people chase. Fancy watches, luxury cars, designer clothes. Who's got time for that when your goal is keeping the lights on? Broke people live in the real world. They measure value not by the price tag, but by how long it lasts. That coat's been through 10 winters, now that's quality. Rich folks throw things away when the season changes. Broke folks keep things so long they turn into family heirlooms, and they are inventive. A rich person breaks something, they replace it. A broke person breaks something, they fix it with a fork, a rubber band, and a prayer. You ever see a broke person fix a TV antenna with a hanger? That's engineering genius. NASA should recruit from laundromats. They'll find more problem solving there than in half the think tanks. You know what's really powerful about broke people? They still dream. Even when everything says they shouldn't, they do. They dream big, sometimes so big it scares them. They imagine better lives, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. They dream of getting out, getting even, getting ahead, and when they can't, they still laugh about it, because laughter's the only thing they can afford that still feels rich. And that's what the system doesn't understand. You can't break people who have already learned how to bend. You can't buy the spirit of someone who's been surviving on next to nothing their whole life. Broke people are like rubber bands, stretched, pulled, worn thin, but somehow they always snap back. They've got resilience coded into their DNA. They may not have money, but they've got instincts, real human instincts. They know when someone's lying. They can smell a scam. They can sense sincerity a mile away. You can't fool them with fancy words or promises of exposure or opportunity. They've seen it all. They've worked for people who couldn't afford a raise while driving home in a new car. They've learned to laugh at it instead of cry. That's strength. And while everyone's chasing status and success, broke people are chasing something purer, peace, a full belly, a warm bed, a day where nothing goes wrong. That's not small, that's real. The rich get bored because they've got too much. The broke stay grateful because they've got just enough. And maybe that's why the world keeps spinning the way it does. Because somewhere, every single day, a broke person chooses to keep going. They choose to show up, to work, to help, to laugh, to live. That quiet persistence is what holds everything together. The world doesn't run on wealth, it runs on willpower, on the energy of people who have got every reason to quit and still don't. So yeah, maybe being broke isn't just about lacking money. Maybe it's a kind of spiritual training, a crash course in what really matters. When you strip away all the extras, all the shiny distractions, you find something raw, something real. You find people who still care, still try, still love even when the world gives them nothing back. And that's the great twist, isn't it? The ones who seem to have the least might actually be the richest of all. Because the truth is, money can build walls, but only heart keeps the world alive.